The unions fuse, I can tell you about the Irish unions, because the leadership of the unions are useless. They're in the pockets of the government want to cut the wages, the union go along with
somebody.
What's that?
They're useful to somebody.
Well, they're useful to themselves, their own, they look after each other, you know, but they don't represent the membership anymore. They're not democratic structures. It's a bureaucracy that's outside the ordinary experience of workers. They have a comfortable life, go to work at 9, finish at 5, that's the end of it. They don't support the workers, they don't defend. You know, it's not a democratic structure, so when workers want to go on strike, it's not their interest that's being followed by this crowd. They follow their own interest. I mean, union bureaucracies, the world over, they're all the same. But in Ireland, they've cut wages, they've reduced construction workers' pay, public service pay, nurses' pay, factory workers' pay. It's terrible. Very bad. Anyway, I'm here. Heard about the strike, so I come down, help them out, paint this up, you know what I mean?
No.
Trade unionism international. Trade unionism is an international movement. You know.
And what was it like when the unions were strong?
Very good. Made some major gains.
How was it different?
Well, they were able to change things, you know, like they're able to get wages increased, taxes reduced, services improved. There have been a few general strikes in Ireland in recent years, which made significant gains. Sometimes there'd be a strike of a small group of workers in a factory. The Trades Council, if a joint member, might call a more general strike, and there'd be a settlement. That's when they were strong. There were no wage cuts. There were only wage increases. Now it's all about wage cuts. So when the unions were strong, there were no cuts. The government puts a threat, or the companies make threats. If you don't settle, we'll shut the company down, you'll all lose your jobs. Now there's a time when the union would stand up to that, they'd resist that, and they'd win. Now they tend to back down. There's a strike at the moment in Dublin amongst refuse collectors. A company called Greyhound. It's a private company, and they decided to cut workers' pay in the refuse collection industry by 30%. 30% pay cut. So they didn't accept that, so the workers went on strikes. It's on at the moment. As I'm talking to you, the strike is on. So I got some emails there recently. They're going to imprison some of these workers for picketing in Dublin. Now they were being offered a 30% pay cut. What should they do? Just accept it? So they resisted, went on strike. The company's continuing to collect the refuse with scab labour, agency labour. Strike is going on. So just as I thought, you know, there may well be, I didn't look at my stuff this morning, maybe a couple of workers in prison for picketing, this kind of stuff, because the picketing was declared illegal. Now when the unions were strong, that wouldn't happen. They wouldn't have got away with cutting wages by 30%. Works a teacher, public service, so in the public service union. All public service pay, nurses, teachers, anybody in the public service had a pay cut by 25% over the last 4 years. So 1 week you take your pay home, it's 25% down on what it was 3 years earlier. You got the same mortgage. Well, you know, the IMF came into Ireland, the International Monetary Fund, and they brought over a programme of cuts and reductions and privatisation and all this kind of stuff. And the unions accepted it, the union leaders accepted it. They thought the spirit of what existed. It's just, anyway, I tell you this all day, it's absolutely terrible what's happening over there. Well, they are united, technically speaking. You have an international federation of trade unions, free trade unions.
What does it do?
Nothing. So they hold conferences, and the union bureaucracies from the various countries meet in Geneva or New York and stay in an expensive hotel, make speeches to each other, pass resolutions, take it out of union expenses, put it down as union expense, a few grand, stay in a big hotel. No, they don't really. It should operate internationally. Like if there was a strike, the strike here should really be supported. I'm going to bring the news of this strike back, and when I get back to Dublin, I'm on the Dublin Trades Council, I'll bring this back, I'll tell them over there about the strike and talk about it, maybe send over some resolutions to support maybe. But there should be international support system, I don't know. Employers should be afraid to take on unions. They're not, they've lost that fear. They used to be. They've lost it.
Yeah. The Labour Party in Ireland, what's happening politically?
Oh, holy Jesus. I'm in the Labour Party. It's dreadful. Do you know much about the Irish Labour Party? They're in a coalition government with a right-wing party called Finn Geaney. There's two right-wing parties in Ireland. The Labour Party formed a coalition government with this crowd, and they're carrying through the wishes of this right-wing party, Finn Geaney. Now, as I'm in the Labour Party, and we fought against that coalition. It'll probably fall in maybe a year or two's time, it'll collapse because of all this going on. Pay cuts, service cuts, health cuts, new charges. People can't afford it anymore. People are becoming poorer and poorer, you know, jobs are being lost. People have to leave to get work. And the Labour Party's in a coalition government. So they should have brought that government down. So anyway, we're fighting against that. But James Connolly, James Larkin, great Irish socialist Labour leaders formed the Labour Party. They were revolutionaries, they were socialists, they were internationalists. Connolly was an internationalist. Larkin, a great union leader. They've come a long, long way since then. I mean, there's a revolution in Ireland, in fact, well, early part of the last century. Huge, there were Soviets, as they called them at the time, set up in many cities of Ireland. There's a big leftward surge, general strikes, movements. I come from a place called Limerick, it's in the southwest. In 1919, there was a Soviet set up there where the workers controlled the city for 10 days. They published their own money, nobody could operate on the streets without the permission of the Trades Council. Vans delivered food. The workers held out for 10 days in what was called the Limerick Soviet. And there was a similar movement in Belfast, a similar movement in Cork in the southwest. So there's good traditions in Ireland. And you mentioned James Connolly, a great international leader, a great writer, a great thinker, a great socialist. He was executed in 1916 for taking part in the rebellion at the time. But today, no comparison. No. It's not so much business, they're bureaucrats. It's a job, you see. They see when they leave school, some people go into business, commerce, some people go into the trade union movement. It's a well-paid job with expenses, a car and expense accounts, plus the international congresses in Geneva and New York. So it's a job. So they go into work in the morning, finish in the evening and go home. So they don't see themselves representing anybody, That's the difference. It's a career. And they're not workers like these guys here. If they became union activists and representatives, it would be a much different union. But they don't become the activists. It's the career people become the activists. That's a huge problem. And nobody elects them. They're appointed by executives. So anyway, it's a long story. It's good traditions. Larkin was here as well. James Larkin was in Sing Sing. He was in prison for sedition during World War I.
Well, the Irish have played an international revolutionary role all over the world.
Some of them.
Supporting the revolution against...
some of them.
Supporting
the San Patricio Regiment, they changed sides. That's exactly right, yeah. You know your stuff here, man. Yeah, they changed sides and they're all executed. They're all murdered, the entire regiment.
They changed sides. They saw that they were being discriminated.
Yeah, they thought the Mexicans are like us, were fighting against imperial power, but they were all killed. The San Patricio Regiment were all killed.